Good morning. My name is Blaine Stacy and I'm with the Oklahoma Conservation Commission. I am a soil health specialist and I'm here today to talk to you about our friends the pollinators. Why are pollinators important, you might ask? Well, I like to eat. So, did you know that 1 in 3 bites of food you take are directly related to pollinator insects? Pollinators, they affect the apples, the oranges, many fruits and vegetables that you and I both enjoy. So here at the State Department of Agriculture pollinator plot, we are basically trying to generate habitat for pollinators that we need to pollinate our foodstuff. I have with me Katie with the Nature Conservancy.
Yes.
We have here today some lovely pollinator plants. And there's also some programs available for pollinators that we could incorporate landowners of all aspects to participate in.
Absolutely. So there is a group called the Oklahoma Monarch and Pollinator Collaborative, and it is a combination of 48 organizations statewide that are working together to generate resources and programs, materials, all the different types of information that all Oklahomans will need in order to get involved. From producers all the way to tribes, residents, teachers, students, everybody. There's something everyone can do to help out with the pollinators. And for this program, one of the products that we're working on is producing a pollinator strip program. So it's in the works, and if all the pieces come together, then this will be an incentivized program to encourage producers to implement pollinator strips on their property and be able to reap those benefits. So we should have that finalized by the end of this summer. And then also we're working on some documentation, best management practices guides, and a number of other resources. And there are several ag-based organizations that are involved: the Conservation Commission, the Oklahoma Association of Conservation Districts, Kerr Foundation, the list goes on and on. And so we're really excited about these programs and getting everybody involved. And then if people want to learn more, we do have a website that we just launched in April, and you may have already heard about it. It's called Okies for Monarchs. It's a lot of fun, and it's a place where anyone and everyone can get information, and you can even if you're already doing something, you can go on there and show off what you're already doing. Check out Blaine's garden. It's already on there, and I think it's called the Stacy Garden, so you'll see a picture of his, and if you've got one, you can upload photos of yours. But even better, there are lists of plants that you can plant to help the monarchs and other pollinators. So when you garden for monarchs, you're helping all pollinators. So yeah, lots of great stuff going on there.
That's exactly right. We are basically pitching in a patch for pollinators, which is kind of the phrase we're terming it. And you're exactly right. When we attract these charismatic insects like monarch butterflies, we are helping out with pollinators of all shapes and sizes, not just the butterflies. We're talking bees, beetles, other flying insects that love nectar, hummingbirds, other bird species, anything that likes to dip their face or their beak or their proboscis into a nectar source is what we're trying to help. So in our lovely pollinator patch, we have several species that some are obvious that insects would like, some are not so obvious, and we're going to talk about a few of those right now. This lovely purple flowered plant is a species called bee balm. I wonder why it's called bee balm. That is because as we're sitting here, there are bees buzzing all around right in front of my face, trying to get a taste of this nectar. Now this species is in the mint family, so when you get close and really get a good smell, it has a pretty stout minty odor, but that's just what makes it appealing to our pollinators.
Stout mint. Yeah. Fantastic.
And some people think they're pleasing, others don't. That's a personal preference.
I like them. They're growing in my yard. Mine look a little more like this, but I like them. Nice color.
You bet. Closer to the camera, we might zoom down in here. We have a gorgeous orange umbellate flower arrangement. This is a species called butterfly milkweed. I think the name is pretty self-explanatory. One of the primary host plants for the monarch butterfly. Monarchs are unique in that they require milkweeds to lay their eggs on for their caterpillars to host on. And kind of some of our management practices, either overuse of herbicide or removing some of these flowered plants from rangeland, from cropland, is really what's hurting the monarch butterfly. They just don't have access to their host plant in order to lay their eggs and get their caterpillars a good head start in life. So anytime we can incorporate any kind of milkweed, green milkweed, butterfly, swamp, several different varieties of milkweed, all native to Oklahoma, that we can throw out here, is good for those monarch butterflies.
Along those lines, or are you going to another plant?
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to add that on that oakiesformonarchs.org website, the plant lists that we have are organized regionally. So if you're in the western part of the state, there's a list for western Oklahoma, central and eastern, to match with the soil types out there. So different milkweed grows better in different parts of the state.
That's exactly right. Some like the wetter portions of eastern Oklahoma. Some enjoy the high and dry west. It takes all the guesswork out of it. You've got a list to look at, pinpoint where your location is, and get to growing.
Yeah, it's literally like a shopping list.
Yeah. Here in front of us is a very interesting grass. If you're a Texan, this is the state grass of Texas. This is known as side oats grama. Now, we wouldn't think that grasses would harbor very many pollinators, but there are several different species of blue skipper butterflies, and it seems like each species kind of has their own favorite grass to host on. There's big blue stem, little blue stem, switchgrass, and it seems they all tend to have their own special species of blue skipper butterfly that like to host on that specific grass. Not to mention, it's an excellent forage species for livestock. So by incorporating this into our mixes, either in our pasture and rangeland settings or in our pollinator gardens, we're helping out the blue skipper butterflies. The seeds will anther out and will be a small source of pollen, depends on what flies by and wants to take a sample, but an excellent grass species that does very well in native landscaping. It's very water efficient, so we with the Conservation Commission enjoy talking about soil health. It's a very excellent plant to throw into your operation, whether it's native landscaping, in any aspect like that. I enjoy seeing it out there. And then here in the back we have a plant that's almost as tall as me. It will get taller even. This is a plant called Maximilian Sunflower. It's very similar to your sunflowers you see growing on the side of the roads, or the sunflowers that you might eat out of a sack, just a different species. The reason you don't see this plant very much is it's very herbicide intolerant. In pastures that have been sprayed, doesn't hold up very well, which is disappointing because cows absolutely love to eat this. You never see it in a pasture because that's one of the first things that the cows like to eat. But it will get a gorgeous, large disc yellow sunflower head on it that attracts all kinds of pollinators. I mean, if you name an insect that likes to eat pollen, it's going to come and visit. But this plant, when we talk about soil health, has an extremely deep taproot. What that taproot does is not only anchor the plant in the soil, but it can pull nutrients from way deep in that soil that maybe your grasses or your shorter rooted plants can't reach, and eliminates the need for some fertilizers. So instead of going out and spending money on fertilizer that you'll have to apply, and then some may get taken up and some may run off, wash away, blow away, you can plant a deep-rooted taproot plant that can access deeper nutrients in the soil profile that your grasses maybe couldn't reach. When we talk about soil health, we're not talking about, is the soil healthy or sick, so to speak. It's how that soil functions. Does it have all the aspects, with the long tap roots, with the short fibrous roots, with the nutrient cycling, with the pollinators assisting to basically be ecologically healthy. So that is our lovely pollinator plot. We hope to come back later in the year and see maybe a different plant community with different plants flowering and talk about those. Katie, thank you for joining me today.
You bet. Can I ask you one last question before we go? You mentioned that cows like to eat the Maximilian sunflower.
Yes.
And so I've heard many concerns about cows eating milkweed. And there's various types that they do or don't like or can or cannot be poisonous. Is that something you can touch on?
Sure.
Okay.
The only time milkweed becomes a problem with livestock eating them is if there's not enough grass for them to eat otherwise.
Good to know.
That is a management issue, and my father was one who told me that we need to go dig milkweed out of the pasture. My first question was why? He said, well, it could make a cow sick. Honestly, if I got a cow dumb enough to eat milkweed, I probably need to send her to the sale barn. Because I want my cows to eat grass and the desirable plants. If it ever gets hungry enough to eat that milkweed, I've got other problems.
Gotcha. Good to know. Thank you.